National Merit Scholarship Program honorees, Ms. Keys. Mrs. Keys.
Thank you, Mr. Kasimis. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Spotlight section of our agenda for tonight, Tuesday, October 21st, 2014. The Norwalk Board of Education is proud to congratulate the Norwalk seniors who were recently recognized for their high academic achievement under the 2015 National Merit Scholarship Program. This very prestigious and highly competitive program honors individual students who show exceptional academic ability and potential for success in rigorous college studies. More than 1.5 million students entered the 2015 competition by taking the 2013 preliminary SAT/National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. Semifinalists, as far as the National Merit Scholarship, at the highest level are students who were named semifinalists in the 60th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. They now have the opportunity to continue in competition for some 7,600 National Merit Scholarships worth about $33 million in total that will be offered next spring. The nationwide pool of semifinalists represents less than 1% of the U.S. high school seniors and includes the highest scoring students in each state based on their PSAT scores, which serves as an initial screen of program entrants. Congratulations to our two National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. We have Elle Bulenbach from Brian McMahon High School and Quinn Robertson from Norwalk High School. We also have our Commended Scholars National Merit Scholarship Program. We also recognize Norwalk's commended students under this program. These students join others throughout the country who placed among the top 5% of students who took the 2013 PSATs. We want to congratulate Kristen Burnham from Brian McMahon, Justin Hufnager from Brian McMahon, Aman Karan from Brian McMahon, Daniel Lott from Norwalk High, Edwin Awalo from Brian McMahon, Derek Sawicki from Norwalk High, and Thomas Skipper from Brian McMahon High School. Edwin Awalo was also named a semifinalist in the National Achievement Scholarship Program, which recognizes promising Black American high school students, and Derek Sawicki was recognized under the National Hispanic Recognition Program sponsored by the College Board. We on the board here would like to congratulate all of these students on their fantastic accomplishments. I have a certificate here for each of the students. And once I call your name, if you can come up and come meet the board, and we can hand you your certificate. The first student that we have up is Quinn Robertson.
Oh, he's not here.
And I believe he couldn't make it this evening, so we will hold on to this for him tonight. Elle Bulenbach.
She's still up there in process.
Okay, all right. We'll hold on to this for her as well. Thank you. Kristen Burnham. We'll hold on to that for her as well. Justin Hufnager. Okay. Aman, is Aman here?
Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations. This is for you. Thank you. Daniel Lott. Edwin Awalo.
Congratulations. Thank you. It's bound to happen.
You need it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. You want to take mine?
Thank you.
Thomas Skipper.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. And Edwin Awalo.
Congratulations again.
Got you 2 times.
Keep it up.
Derek Sawicki.
Congratulations.
We have 2 for Derek as well. Congratulations. We want to also thank all the family and friends that have supported and the teachers that have supported these students as well. So a round of applause for all of you as well. I think I've read all this. Susan, do you want to take these certificates back?
Yep. Okay. Congratulations to each and every one of you. We know it takes a lot of hard work, and we are all very proud of you. I heard today, we got an email from Mark Robinson earlier that Quinn is actually playing at the UN tonight. So we congratulate him as well. I know Heidi's doing it. Okay, and you guys can leave. You can go home because you have school tomorrow. Don't forget. All right, next we have public comments. Ms. Keys again. Got double duty today.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our public comment section on our agenda this evening. The person that we have up first is, can't read that, is that
John or Jake?
Jake? Number 5?
Let me see it.
Let's
I'm
see
used
if you
to it.
can.
Jab?
Mr. John Mosby, I think.
No?
No? Mr. Mosby. That's his handwriting.
Okay. Good for
Okay,
you.
great.
All right.
Your handwriting.
I couldn't. Okay.
It looks like they were crossed out.
But Mark Keaton decided, they came back and decided.
Oh, and they want to keep. Okay, Mr. Mosby, do you mind? We have a couple of people in front of you. I thought they crossed their names out. Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. When we call your name, if you could please state your full name for the record and your address. Please keep your comments civil in nature. You'll have approximately 3 minutes. I'll wave my hand when you have 30 seconds left. I have David Metzger.
Hello, I am David Metzger. I actually live in Bridgeport, 554 Brewster Street, Apartment 2. I am a teacher at Kendall Elementary School, the music teacher. I'm here just to make you aware, at the very least, of an issue we've been having in the kindergarten wing for approximately 7 years. Once the school got renovated, our roof has continued to leak and leak and leak and leak. Kids tell me that they're getting dripped on, my chairs are wet, there's puddles along the edge of where the windows are. It's dangerous. I'm the music teacher, so we do dancing and stuff. It's not very safe for my kids. There's also a part of my floor that's buckling, and nothing really has been done about it. There's been Band-Aids here and there, but it seems sometimes when they do the Band-Aid, it gets worse. It drips from the light fixture onto the computer. So I kind of just making you aware, and possibly if there's anything that can ultimately be done. I don't know, but I just wanted to make you aware.
Well, we have a new facilities director,
Right.
and well, obviously, if he isn't aware of this, we'll make him
Yeah.
aware of it. Hopefully something will be
If I could, in last week's board packet, I informed the board of several steps regarding the Kendall roof. The fact that it's been ongoing now for years. The fact that there were 2 separate contractors who, when they installed the roof, obviously didn't make the proper connections at that time that they needed to make. The fact that we've had numerous companies out there trying to fix it and it still can't get fixed. The fact that this is supposed to be under warranty, and the vendor who tells us that it would be repaired has not repaired it. And in my recommendation to the board a week ago, I think I was at a level of frustration where I said, I'm not sure we can wait anymore for the vendor to make good on his and honor his promise. We'd have to deal with that legally, perhaps, and seek legal remedies, but we know we have to get it fixed. And it's going to be an investment on our part, and believe me, it is on our agenda, and it is something we intend to fix.
Okay. Just wanted to also let you know, one of the kindergarten teachers who isn't up to talking at the moment, has fallen twice because of the water in the room.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Janet Jacobs?
Good evening, I'm Janet Jacobs. I work at Kendall Elementary School. I teach English as a second language in room 7, and I'm here to also...
Can you give us your address, too?
70 Strawberry Hill Avenue in Stamford,
Thank you.
Connecticut. I'm also here to talk about the roof and to give my experience of what it's been like to deal with this for 7 years. I could give you details, but I'll just leave it at that. We've been reporting it. There was a point about a year and a half ago where I slipped and hurt my back and reported it to Workman's Comp. I thought for sure that would accelerate things. Like my colleague said, we often have Band-Aid work taking place, but last Thursday, that very rainy day, my colleagues and I began the day in tears because it was raining in our classrooms. We were so dispirited, so disgusted, and scared. By the middle of the day, my colleague had slipped, as Dr. Metzger said, for the second time this school year in front of her kindergartners. Now, since then, they've installed a gutter system. So we have gutters in our room with a drain pipe leaking into a bucket right next to an electrical outlet next to my colleague's computer. And at first that seemed effective. I went through the day not noticing drips, only in the bucket. But you wouldn't believe it. By the end of the day, another leak accumulated on the floor next to the bucket, which proves that this is just yet another Band-Aid. So we're bringing this to your attention because we really would like you to understand the urgency. It's not abstract for us. It's our real backs. Our real lungs are affected by the mildew odor that's accumulating, especially in the spring. My students tell me they can't breathe in my classroom. I have asthma. I can't breathe. So this building is being impacted in many ways, and we're just bringing it to your attention. We want you to see the faces that are impacted by what might seem abstract when people are arguing about warranties. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doris Rios?
Good evening. My name is Doris Rios. I live at 28 Georges Lane, Monroe, Connecticut. I've been a teacher at Kendall for 13 years. In December, I'm the bilingual teacher that gives support as English as a second language to the Hispanics. I'm here also about the roof, and I know, Dr. Rivera, that you've been trying, and maybe a lot of you will ask, why 7 years? Why have we waited 7 years? Because we've trusted, but enough is enough sometimes. I know you're saying that it's looked at. However, we are the ones that have to live under the conditions of being in a room where there's buckets everywhere. Can you pass me the bucket? There's trays, aluminum trays. Okay? And someone that you just hired made a joke saying to me, oh, why you don't put buckets in your supply list? Think that's funny, huh? He thinks that's funny. Leaks everywhere, and people say that there's no mold. If you have a roof in your house, a room that's leaking, a bathroom, mold grows. Okay, I pray every morning as a Christian for God to help me get to work and work with these kids. About 120 students that come into our room that have gone through more than mainly most of us here. And the gutter was put, look at the leak yesterday. I was out homesick. Now, why hasn't someone said these teachers and these students shouldn't work there? Why hasn't a part would be put? We have a boss that we need to obey to that says stay in the room. A lot of parents are not here today because they are afraid. They're afraid they're going to be deported. They don't know their rights. They trust the system. They trust them. A lot of teachers came up to me and said, why are you going there? To waste your time? I drove to Monroe and came back. And last but not least, so here are the tiles that I asked since last year to be removed because they were stained. There was mold growing. So OSHA came and they say there's no mold. We haven't seen the reports. We have a draft. And I will end with this. Someone that worked in the school for many years once told me, nothing will happen because Kendall supports school. And there are the majority blacks and Hispanics. I want to take that mentality off my brain. I worked in the South Bronx for 9 years and never went through this. So please, I ask that you support us taking us out of that room.
Thank you. Mr. Mosby, John Mosby?
My name is John Mosby. I live at 15 Addison Avenue. I want to say to the board, I missed a couple of meetings, but I just want to follow up on what these parents say. I've been speaking about this for over the last 2 years. And the problem is in the school system. I told Dr. Rivera, and I'm glad now the parents coming out. The problem is y'all got rid of all the maintenance men. I was talking to the custodian the other day. That's what we had maintenance men go around and take care of the school. Y'all have got rid of all the maintenance men. I was talking to them today. They said, Mr. Mosby won't give us that. That's why y'all save all that money, because you cut those guys out. You need these in-house people to go there and what these people are talking about. This ain't no sugarcoating thing. It ain't no Mr. Mosby. Also, I want to say to the board, I see the other night, y'all finally showed the contract when you did it. Everybody seen it. I seen it, I almost clapped my hand. But the custodian's contract wasn't done. So the problem was y'all rigged that contract. And I'm glad the custodians fighting it. They're doing pretty good now. They're doing pretty good. You all got to be fair in the school and stop sugarcoating the thing. I told y'all before that the Hispanic and blacks are being mistreated. Not that we are trying to go against the whites. You all know me. But you all got to come together. And I know I don't have time to talk, because if you meet with us, we can help you. Bread's up there leaking like a dog. Dr. Allen them is so scared. You got the principal so scared. I told her they done leaked all over the place. And they scared to come out like they say. You got the principal scared. They are so scared. That's wrong. Now, hear what I want to say now, then I'm going to shut down. Under the board policy, and I looked at something, y'all changing these bylaws and policy. It stayed under the law. We're supposed to have a citizen advisory committee. In the public, we all supposed to be on that committee. We're supposed to have at least 25 people of all races and ethnic to see what's going on in the school system. This is what I want to see come up now: Hispanic, white, and black. Also, our job is to look out long range on all committees. We need some school, because with all these people coming in here, we can run to the barn, but you can't hide these schools won't hold them. And we got a problem. And y'all got to start to listen to us. Listen to these parents. Stop trying to bully these principals. I almost cry sometimes. The other day, the principal told me, I'm going to say this there. She said, in y'all contract, we supposed to meet with the custodian once a month. Say the boss up here come up and told them, you ain't going to meet no more. You come up there. You taking all the power away from these here principals. They don't invite us in the school because they're so scared. And I hope you both get up off y'all hand and stop this politics and start to holding these people accountable with all this money coming in here. You're just playing game. And you seen in Stanford, everybody, you see all them corporations leaving, going back to New York City. You can't kid the public. You got to listen to us in the community, the homeowners, the taxpayers, all these people coming in here taking over our town. Somebody got to be held accountable. Thank you very much.
Elda Portillo?
Good evening. My name is Zelda Portillo. I'm living 16 North Taylor Avenue of Norwalk. I'm a parent for Kendall School. My English not the best, but I will try. So I have a questions about the roof of the school. So I came here because I'm so proud about all teachers from Kendall School, and I support all children from Kendall School. I want to know why you not finished to solve this problem about the roof on that school. Just fix it is nothing solve the problem. I don't need more answer to my question. I need action to my questions. No more answers, no more. I need I need action to my questions. But I want to ask to the principal, how many times, or all of you, how many times you sit with all teachers from Kendall School and ask them how they feeling about this situation? How many times you sit with them? How many times you take the time and sit with them about this situation and more else, I think. I know some teachers and some parents is scared to come here because they afraid, they intimidate, I don't know. But I want to ask, I know some teachers want to get out from the classrooms, but the principals say no. Why? If they're not feeling good to work or teach the kids in those classrooms, is unacceptable. You not look for a good solution to this situation, bad situation, because this is not better. This is worse and worse and worse. So that's why I need to repeat again. Another question I have is, where is the report for OSHA? Because in the last meeting of PTO in Kendall School, they said OSHA came to Kendall School. All parents want to know what they said about that. We want to see the report of OSHA. For us, it's very important to listen the parents, because you feel us, you not care our kids, and you not care all teachers from that school. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ed Abrams?
Good evening. My name is Ed Abrams. I live at 20 Morgan Avenue here in Norwalk. I want to bring up a different subject to the board, if I may, and that is, as you begin to think about your 2015-2016 budget, there are clearly, as I've heard from my peers in the room, challenges that you face as a board, that we face as a district. However, one of the other things that's critically important is equity in spend across our various programs in our schools. I'm here to represent the Norwalk High School music program tonight. This is a program that touches 20% of the students at Norwalk High School. It is the single largest program within the school. Yet it is the least funded program within the school. The average student who participates in the music program is spending between $600 and $2,100 a year for the pleasure of being part of a school program. That's inappropriate. It's inequitable. When you look at other initiatives that go on in our schools, other programs, other clubs who are better funded, I would ask you to think about, as you set budgets, as you look at equity across programs for 2016, you really look at it from the standpoint of the number of students these programs are affecting. And it's true, there are things outside of extracurriculars that are critically important to the school district here. I've heard it from my peers. But even within the things that go on at school, music, sports, etc., there has got to be more equity in investment. And I would simply like to tonight plant that seed so that as you begin your funding work, you think about equity in terms of the number of students affected by each program. With that, I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary Jordan?
Good
Good evening. I'm Mary Jordan, 6 Weatherbell Drive, Norwalk. I'm the first vice president of the Norwalk Federation of Teachers, and I'm a French teacher at Ponus Ridge Middle School. I am here in support of my colleagues at Kendall School and other teachers in the district. Kendall School has been part of what I've been working on with the union for the past year. I've been so impressed by the professionalism and the dedication of the teachers over there, showing up whatever is happening, whether it's heat and those leaks and more leaks, and then we get a plan and then it leaks, and it's endless cycle and looping of repairs and more leaks. It is unfortunate. I'm also eager to point out that I've been working pretty closely with Bill Hodel he's been here for about 5 months, and he's been working really impressively and trying really hard. Whatever assistance you can give him as he's trying to solve these problems, which are clearly so urgent for our children. It is not an ideal circumstance to be coming to school and walking around buckets and slipping and sliding. Kendall School is not the only school that has these leaks, although it is by far the worst. There are other leaks at Nathan Hale. There are leaks at Ponus. There are leaks in many of these flat roof schools if you're looking. So Kendall should absolutely be the primary goal, but Mr. Hodel really needs support to solve these problems, to set up a system to address facilities all through the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. We subscribe to something called Tools for Schools, the City of Norwalk. On our website, it says the Norwalk Public Schools is part of the Tools for Schools program. That is a program from the Environmental Protection Agency that suggests several ways of addressing environmental issues and facilities problems in schools. We currently do not practice any of the things that Tools for Schools suggests, and would go far to help the parents and the school community understand the issues in a school, what are the risks of those issues, and how they're being addressed. It's a communications program, and it's actually getting people on board as a team to help solve and understand what's being faced as a community. I highly recommend implementing fully the Tools for Schools program. We had it at one point. It has gone by the wayside. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that ends our public comment section. Thank you.
If I could,
Yes.
I just want to respond.
Oh, okay, I was going to do that.
Regarding the Kendall roof, I want to be careful not to convey that we don't care, because we do care. When you have a facility like that, and I was at the PTO meeting and I listened to the parents, and I was well aware of it. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 times since I've been here that we've sent crews out there to try to fix it. And every time we think it's fixed, people come, a week later, 2 weeks later, the leak is still there. It doesn't go away. It's like the problem that never goes away. So finally, I think we reached after I went to the PTO meeting, came back, had some conversations. We've come to the realization, at least I have, that this may not be repairable. We may have to completely replace the entire roof. And this is what I've been told. That the way that it was constructed was improper, and we may well need to do that. And I'm, based on what I know today, and the frustration that you all have had to endure for years, and our frustration in hearing this, I think it's something very seriously that we're going to have to look at and make a decision on quite quickly, because it is going to be an expensive item, but obviously something that we're going to pay attention to. So I just want to convey that we are on it, we do care, we are going to get it fixed. It may well require a complete replacement of the roof. And with respect to the board, I'll be happy to get back to you with more specifics about what those next steps should be.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. I'd like to make a comment as well. I think somebody had mentioned that we don't care, like Dr. Rivera has said. Every single one of us on the board here are elected by the public. We represent you. And Mr. Mosby, and you can reach out to any one of us. Our phone numbers are on the website. We all have emails. I know Mike Barbas answers a lot of them, and he's always out in the community. So please, if anyone feels they cannot come to us, it's not it's untrue. We're all available, and I ask that you, after you go through the chain of command and you don't feel like you're getting a response, feel free to contact us. Okay? The other thing, I believe there was an inappropriate statement made that Kendall is being treated this way because of race, and that is untrue, and it's false, and I just want to make sure that statement is made. We treat everybody the same. All right. Next, we have the superintendent's report.
Okay. I have 4 or 5 items to report tonight. If I can find my glasses. First of all, October, as you know, is Bullying Prevention Month. And many of our schools have a variety of programs and assemblies. But I did want to call to your attention that tomorrow we will be celebrating Unity Day. This is a date that's been promoted by the National Bullying Prevention Center. And according to the center, quote, a day everyone can come together in schools, communities, and online and send one large orange message of support, hope, and unity. So our schools are being asked to promote students and staff wearing something orange. Many will wear orange ribbons labeled Unite in lieu of orange apparel. But just to give you aware, I do have an orange tie, so look forward to wearing that as I sit on the panel at Brian McMahon. Regarding promoting positive school culture, all of our secondary schools have implemented PBIS. Bruce is here tonight. He has shared data previously with me, which I don't know if we put it in our past packet, but our suspensions have gone down remarkably. Number of students being suspended out of school because of strategies that they are implementing as a result of PBIS. We actually have a number of elementary schools that are also moving in that direction. We've had 4 that are in their second year of that training and 2 new ones this year, Cranberry and Wolf Pit. So even those schools are beginning to adapt other strategies. And there are other programs such as Character Counts and a program called Tribes. So there's a good deal of activity in our schools, raising awareness and attention to bullying and our need to prevent it. And I just wanted to share that with you, especially with regard to the event tomorrow. Also, SAT test results came out last week. We are going to put in your packet on Friday, we'll send you details of the SAT results, but I just thought I'd highlight a few things. For our class of 2014, the average SAT score for reading was 475. It was 471 for math and 478 for writing. That's all Norwalk students. Our reading results in 2014 is unchanged from 2013. It's basically flat. However, math is down 5 points over a 5-year period. But please know that this is also consistent with state and national declines of 9 points over the same 5-year period. So there's been a 9-point state decline, 9-point national decline. Our math has declined 5 points over 5 years. Writing is also down 7 points. The state of Connecticut as a whole is down 8 points over the last 5 years. And nationally, writing is down 8 points over the same period. With regard to the 11 high schools in our district reference group, you've heard of it called the DERG, Stamford, Danbury, and a number of other districts. Our 2 high schools rank 3rd and 4th. One of the things that we talked about is as we look at making certain that more and more of our students are on track, and I've talked about 8th graders being on track for 9th grade, 9th graders being on track for 10th grade. We started having discussion that I want to continue with the principals, and I know Suzanne's here and Scott's here, but also with Reggie, who was here shortly a while ago, but talk more about the use of data that we can get from the PSAT, which actually provides a good item analysis. And I know at some level that's being used already at Brian McMahon. But even before that, the use of the Ready Step assessment, which is sort of the pre-PSAT, which is also a fairly good diagnostic assessment that can help track and predict college and career readiness. So the discussion needs to go from, okay, so here are the scores, here's where we are, to what can we learn from some of these assessments that the College Board puts out? What can we begin to do in our schools so that we're addressing proper areas? And just as we heard from our K-5 literacy person last week, talk about the important assessments in K-5 literacy, including writing and other key aspects, I think we need to pay also some good attention to some other assessments at the secondary level, particularly for young people coming out of 8th grade, so we can be better prepared for them in 9th and 10th. So those are our SAT results. On an enrollment update that I also mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I reviewed some of the final numbers. Our enrollment is up 205 students more than we had projected. We are at 11,345. About half of those students are at the elementary level, and the other half is at the middle and high school level. And it's also pretty striking, the English language learner student population has increased from 1,292 students a year ago, October 1st, to 1,600 students this October 1st. That's a total jump for us of 12 to 14% of our students requiring English language learner services. And I mention this in particular because as we are beginning to look at both current needs that we have in the system, both to strengthen our ELL services at the secondary level and at the elementary level, I'm going to need to address this as well as in the upcoming budget. Obviously, we've got to be able to provide proper staff and support and training for the increasing number of students entering our system as English language learners. My fourth point before I ask a few folks to come forward, the budget focus groups they begin this week on Thursday night at Nathan Hale at 7 p.m. And look forward, the plan is, similar to last year, prepared a brief presentation, no more than 5 or 6 slides, just to talk about some of our key plans, some of the initiatives that are underway, some enrollment information, some of areas that we've already targeted for budget development purposes, and then to give folks an opportunity to talk, to share, and to tell us what we need to hear. And I'm looking forward to those. There are 5 of those that are scheduled. I think we'll keep getting the word out a week in advance of each one. And this one at Nathan Hale is for Thursday evening at 7 p.m. At this time, I'd like to invite staff from Brian McMahon to talk about the International Baccalaureate program that is in the design and development stages. And ask you to come forward and kindly introduce yourselves and walk us through it. We've talked a year ago about enhancing our program, raising expectations, raising standards. Well, international standards, particularly those advanced by the International Baccalaureate program, are amongst the highest in the world. And there are school systems that do have IB certificate, IB endorsement programs. And but it's a long process. It's a 2 or 3 year process just to get certified. But it's moving in the right direction for Norwalk because we want to have options for our students in the secondary level, just as we went last year with the Norwalk Early College Academy, which is a unique early college experience. We want to fully support the development of an international baccalaureate program in our secondary schools. So I'm going to turn it over to Roz McCarthy and her team.
Thanks. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. I'm Roz McCarthy. I'm the director of the Center for Global Studies at Brian McMahon. And this initiative is a collaboration between the Center for Global Studies and Brian McMahon. And I'm really excited about it because I think it will be good for the center. It will help as we recruit new students so that people know that when they're coming to Brian McMahon, they're getting an excellent education. But I think it's more than just good for the center. I think it's really good for McMahon. And I think as as you listen to this and hear more about it, it's going to be, you'll see that it's good for the Norwalk Public Schools. So I'd like to introduce the committee that's been working on it for the past year. And this is Julie Parham, who teaches English in the Center for Global Studies. This is Christy Carrero, who teaches math in Brian McMahon. And Scott Hurwitz, you should all know as the housemaster from Brian McMahon. So we are a collaborative group, and Christy and Julie are going to do the presentation, and Scott and I will be here for moral support and to answer any questions you might have.
I'd also like to add that Christy and Julie are both 092 candidates who are the coordinators of the IB program. So they're kind of spearheading the effort. Roz and I are standing back.
Thanks.
All right, smart.
I think he's gonna do it. We just need it on.
Are we, our technology, are we,
We're just
Is it
waiting
good?
for the smart board. It's coming? Okay, great. Well, thanks for carrying this out tonight. As both Roz and Dr. Rivera said, our purpose here tonight is to let all of you in on the ground level of this pretty exciting program. We're quite excited about it. And to ask you to help us spread the word and get the community excited about this program as well. The International Baccalaureate Program, for those who haven't heard much about it, has its roots in post-World War II. It has kind of an ideological beginning and a practical beginning. The ideological beginning was nations were looking for ways to promote international mindedness and peace. Practically, in the 1950s and the 1960s, we had a lot of foreign businessmen, a lot of Western businessmen, Western diplomats traveling the country, the world with their families, and they were looking for a way to ensure that their kids had a really good secondary education to get into competitive universities. And that's kind of the legacy of IB. It promotes international mindedness, and it is a really rigorous college prep program. And that's why we like it. Yeah, I'm just going to keep talking. Under the umbrella of IB, there are 4 different programs, so they span from pre-K to 12th grade. We are interested in the secondary program. It's called the diploma program. This is the longest standing program. A lot of research supports its success. It's been around since 1970. There have been about 500,000 successful graduates from the program since then. So very briefly, the diploma program is a comprehensive and rigorous 2-year pre-university course of study. It formally begins in 11th grade, so students are selected or apply for their 11th grade year. However, obviously we need this to be a 9 through 12 initiative. We can't just throw kids in as 11th graders. We've got to get them ready, as Dr. Rivera was saying. 8th grade's got to prepare for 9, 9 for 10, 10 for the diploma program. These are international standards of achievement. It is recognized worldwide as rigorous and demanding. This is a world-class education with world-class standards. Over 1 million students are currently enrolled, and really the numbers are just going up. To understand a little bit about what makes IB special, why we like it so much, there are kind of 2 pieces of IB philosophy that I think are worth taking away. Alec Peterson was the head of education at Oxford University in the 1950s and the 1960s. And he was kind of the Ben Franklin of the IB charter. So he had some ideology that he promoted that we think is pretty unique. He really emphasized, and IB really emphasizes learning how to learn. So it's not a system of rote memorization. It's not about knowledge. It's about learning how to learn. And if you think about how well that would prepare kids for college, it's really significant. IB also emphasizes educating the whole person. So students aren't just warm bodies and chairs we're throwing stuff at, right? They're people that need to be developed both in and out of the classroom. So what does this mean in a practical sense? Well, once we get the IB diploma program at our school, students would have 2 choices. And the first choice is to get an IB certificate in a certain subject. That works very much like AP, advanced placement classes. Students are interested in a subject, they can enroll in that IB class. If they do well in the class and they take an exam at the end and they do well on the exam, they can get college credit, perhaps waive a college course for that particular class. The real sell for IB, though, is the IB diploma. This is where students elect to complete the full diploma program, including the IB core. And so let's learn a little bit about what that is. So IB chose this hexagon to represent the structure of their program, and I think it's kind of an interesting shape. The exterior of the hexagon has these 6 subject areas, and these are all classic liberal arts subjects. You can get this at any high school in the world, or at least in the United States. What makes IB really special is the core in the middle. And the core includes, we have 7 courses. You see them anywhere. 3 are higher level or 2-year courses. 3 are standard level 1-year courses. There's a special course called the Theory of Knowledge. There are extracurriculars involved, and there's an extended essay that's also involved. What's new for McMahon and CGS is the IB core. So the Theory of Knowledge class, this is where learners learn how to learn. It's an interdisciplinary approach to learning and critical thinking. The extended essay is essentially like a little mini high school dissertation. It's a 10,000-word essay. It's about 20 pages. Students have a year and a half to work on it. They have a faculty advisor who is hopefully, a specialist in that field. And that research project reflects an interest of the students. The CAS, IB calls it, the Creativity Action Service component, is not terribly different than what most of our students already do in high schools. They're out doing other things, extracurriculars, music gets involved, action. Oops. Okay. We're off. This one's working. What's different about CAS with IB is that students have a faculty advisor who helps them set goals for these activities and then helps them reflect on these goals. Since really the best way to kind of learn from your experiences, I think, is to stop and think about what you've just done and reflect on it. So actually, this is Kristen Vernon, who didn't make it tonight but did receive one of those certificates. So she volunteered to be our model IB student tonight. So if Kristen were an IB student, her future plans might include pursuing a BS in engineering. Her course load might look like this. She might take 3 higher level subjects: math, literature, visual arts. Those would be 2-year courses. She would also take physics, history, Chinese, theory of knowledge as standard level or 1-year courses. But that's not all. Her extended essay question would hopefully reflect her interest in engineering. So it might look something like this. To what extent does modern art influence contemporary civil engineering? Her faculty advisor could either be an art teacher, a math science teacher, someone who has an interest in something similar. And finally, her CAS activities might mimic what she already does, but again, that advisor would help her set goals as president of the art club, help her stretch herself a little bit with her track team or her volunteering at the Carver Center. And she would probably be a member of NHS. All right, well, what does Kristen get out of this? Well, if she applies if she completes the IB certificate, like AP, she could receive either credit or have a course waived at many schools. This is a small sampling of what's out there. But if she completes the IB diploma program, and this is where things get really exciting, there are a handful of universities that will waive an entire freshman year of college because they successfully completed the program. This is just a sample, but you graduate high school, you've got the IB diploma, you walk into college as a sophomore, and your parents will save $60,000, and they're pretty happy about that. So does IB matter when you're applying to college? The answer seems to be yes. This is a student survey collected by IB, and if you notice on the left, the overall acceptance rate at these universities, the middle column is the acceptance rate for students who have completed the IB certificate. So these are the students who are really competing with other AP students. There's a slight increase, unless you're going to NYU apparently. And, but please notice the jump all the way over to the right. Once you get that IB diploma, your acceptance into these universities really seems to jump by about 22%. Again, this is a small sampling of a much larger list. The trend is pretty consistent. The diploma program seems to work, and colleges seem to really recognize that. So, I'm continuing on with the hard sell here. Here's what we like about IB. It really complements Common Core. It is a natural extension of our student-centered learning initiatives already going on in McMahon and CGS. We already have a large population who is excited about international languages and global studies, yes. AP and IB are not mutually exclusive. They frequently work side by side at schools the size of McMahon. We've seen the colleges like them, and there's also research showing that IB diploma students tend to have lower dropout rates freshman year, and they tend to have higher GPAs overall. So here is our transition timeline. We are right at the very beginning of the consideration phase. We are not even out of that first box yet, and that's one of the reasons we're here tonight, is because we wanted everybody to be in on this from the beginning. We'll be working this year on our application for candidacy. Once we become a candidate school, we have 2 years to get all our ducks in a row before we apply for authorization. So ideally, it should look like this. This year, we're working on selecting courses and teachers for our application. We'll be assessing our curriculum alignment. We'll certainly be back next year with at least one new course, the Theory of Knowledge course, that we'll be proposing. We'll be submitting our application for candidacy. Then we'll have 2 years to revise and design a curriculum. We'll get our teachers trained. We'll get a recommended course of study for pre-IB, because again, this is a 9 through 12 initiative. This is going to affect all of our students, the entire school. We want everybody to have a chance at IB. We want everybody to be ready. We'll request authorization, and we will become a diploma school in 2017, and we'll start our whole school PD for pre-IB courses to get everyone involved. And we have a couple documents online where we have a very minimal web presence right now, but we're getting there. So we'll be adding more as we go, but if you want some more details, if you want to see some information, you can check us out online. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Yep.
Sounds very, very impressive, but I have a lot of questions to ask. Not too many, but looks like the launch date, if everything goes well, will be 2017. That's the year we're looking at. Students start in 11th grade, correct, 11th and 12th grade. What if you have a student from Norwalk High School or Briggs that's interested in the program? How do we work or transfer if this is something? Do you have to be at McMahon in order to participate in this program?
Well, we do have the Center for Global Studies.
Right.
Which, so there's one avenue
Right.
in, and then I'm sure we'll be exploring other avenues as well.
Okay. You mentioned some of the classes. Are there any additional classes that the students have to take other than what you just showed us on the slide?
There are, IB has a spectrum of offerings, so each subject, they have many, many choices within that. So our sample for Kristen was just to give you a sense of what it might look like.
But the 7 have to be the IB courses.
Okay. And our faculty will have PD? We don't have to hire additional faculty? As far as professional development or extra training for these accelerated classes?
We will need extra training, absolutely, but we should not need any additional
Okay.
faculty.
What about students that are struggling? You have a student that's in 11th grade and taking the class, and quarter of the way through, they're having difficulty. Will we have extra help for these students that are struggling to continue on, or is there a specific test? I know you mentioned that they take the class, there's a test, and if they pass the test, they get credit. Is that correct?
Sort of.
Okay.
Sort of. Like AP, IB functions in 2 ways. So there's the course itself.
Right.
And so you get Norwalk credit for that course. If you score high enough on the test, then colleges will say, yep, okay, your college rating will count that as a college course. So there's that. What makes IB unique with the assessments is that, unlike AP, which has the course and then one big old test at the end, IB has periodic assessments throughout. So they have both internal and external assessments, they call them. The internal assessments are, a handful of them are moderated by an external committee. And so what they're doing is they're checking the standards and making sure that everybody's up to par, that the teacher is doing what they need to do. So we would have a big window to make sure our students are doing well. We're not going to find out in April that, oh my gosh, somebody's not going to do well on the test. We'll know that in October. And then we would know that again in December and again in February. So, I assume that we would do what we do now, which is if a student is struggling, we would figure out how to help that individual.
The reason why I'm asking is because it's so new, we would want to have that support mechanism in place.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Could you come back once, and this is so much in the early stages, the infancy stage, so at some point, I would suggest if we could to have you come back with a more detailed presentation on this, I think
Sure.
would be great.
I think what would be a good vehicle for that would be the curriculum committee, where we could actually take the time and get more into some of the detail around the programming and the next steps.
Yes, Ms. Roberts.
Well, here, go ahead, Sean.
Thank you. You mentioned that there were 4 programs, pre-K through 12th grade, and the one that you mentioned was the diploma program.
Yes.
Can you let me know what the other 3 are?
Sure. They are the primary years program, the middle years program. So Rogers International School in Stanford currently is both primary and middle years. The fourth one, the diploma, is then the secondary one, the high school one. And the fourth one is a brand new one that just started last year. It's called the Diploma Program Career Certificate Program. There's a lot of P's and C's in that. But it's the diploma program, but with a vocational aspect. So there's some internship opportunities typically built in, and there's usually a certificate for work hours done as part of the university.
Would that be something that can happen together? Like if the Center for Global Studies had the diploma program, could then Brian McMahon have the diploma program, career certificate program? Or, I mean, could that happen in the same school?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be separate for CGS and Brian McMahon, but I think it's an option.
It would be, I think it's a very interesting option for a few years down the road. I think once we kind of get our ground with this. If you guys are interested, we're interested.
Thank you.
Ms. Barber, could you just talk a little bit about the lay of the land? Like, okay, so we have Rogers Magnet has, a K program, they're talking about doing a high school. I mean, I know IB more overseas than the United States. I know it's growing in America. Could you just talk a little bit about the context, like where it is in Connecticut, or certain parts of the country where it's taken off more, or is it more private school?
In Connecticut, there are 2 IB schools. Which one have you considered it?
Right.
So East Hartford has an IB school, a magnet part of East Hartford High School, and Fitch High School in Groton also has an IB school inside their high school. And those are 2 schools that we have been in contact with, kind of been like a mentor to us, where we have scheduled to go plan and visit and observe and see how it's working out in their schools. We've also done that with Portchester in New York. And there are schools in Utah and Chicago,
It
California.
really seems to be like California and Chicago have really run with this in the United States. Otherwise, it's pretty few and far between. Last year, Chicago added 5 more. They're kind of using it to revamp their entire inner city urban schools. So they just keep pumping them out, and it seems to be really successful. They've got people lined up at the door waiting to
That's awesome.
so, yeah.
Can't wait to hear more about it. It's like we're doing it.
Yeah.
Good to meet.
If there are no other questions, I just want to thank you for your, sorry, good.
One question. My question is, is there a cost involved in having this program? And have we thought about funding? How are we going to fund it?
Yes.
That if you ask for funding, that's
Yes.
a help answer. And I think the answer is, of course, there's going to be a cost.
Yep.
I mean, of course, it's going to be. And right now, there's been some monies that have been put aside from various places to help us get the materials we need, to give the teachers the time they need. And I think as we go down the road, the costs, it will be very clear what the costs are. What I'm assuming, I can't tell you today that what the cost is going to be in 2017, but anytime you do an improvement in a school on this magnitude, where you're improving the entire school, you have to assume it's going to cost some money. So there are costs involved. Dr. Rivera can give you more detail if you want that, but the benefits are going to be far outweigh the costs.
Do we know what the cost was for other schools? Have we asked other schools what
Yes,
it cost them to?
there is cost information that we can make available to the board. One of the costs, quite frankly, there's quite a requirement for continued training and development of teachers. So there's a big annual investment in professional development and training. Obviously, we targeted some of the funding, both from our surplus and with what the board approved, for 3 or 4 strategic planning initiatives. This is one of them. So we're covering this year's costs. For example, in addition to the support of some of the teacher time here, there's an application fee and some other fees we're going to have to they're not substantial, but ultimately down the road, there will be a cost. Given the nature of the kind of program and the quality that we're talking about, they did not seem to me to be so prohibitive that we would just sort of discount it. But I'm happy to give you more detailed information on not just the startup costs, but also sort of the annual operating expenditures that we can pull together and perhaps share with the Finance Committee as well.
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, and thank you for the wonderful planning. I would like to talk to you afterwards. I could use some help. But no, you did a great job with your pre-planning here.
Yes. Ms. Murray?
Dr. Rivera?
Yes.
On your report, early part of your portion of your report, on the focus groups,
Yes.
have we made preparations, or how are we actually documenting what is happening and covered in each of the sessions? Because all board members are not required to be there, maybe cannot be there.
Yeah.
Plus, even to the fact that it might be something that the public needs to see from session to session on the website.
Well, one of the things we have done, we have made arrangements to actually have somebody there taking minutes. So a Maryland-type person will actually, it'll be Maryland, will actually be there and will be recording what people say, and those will be available as soon as they're generated. I don't think do we have them? Are they going to be taped? No, not at this stage. Oh, we can tape them for purposes of the verbal exchange, but I'm wondering if we have not planned to film them and have them captured.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah. So the minutes will be available, they'll be on our website, and we'll be able to track that. And the expectation was, as we talked about the upcoming Finance Committee agendas, that I would actually bring to you a report at the next meeting in November on all of these. We'll actually have to, like we did last year, pull it all together and come to the board with a presentation of what everybody collectively prioritized.
Yeah. And I did, and Rich provided me with that. Thank you, Rich. But for the sake of the public who may want to follow,
Yeah.
that was what I was concerned about. It sounds like that's being covered with our recorder. So that'll work.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, no more questions? On to the consent calendar. Yes.
Manny, can I just ask you one question?
Yes.
When you talked about the ELL population.
Yes.
I think you said from October 1, 14, or October 1, 13, 14, went up from 1292 to 1600. And then you said, oh, that was up by 12 or 14%, but that's up more like 22%. So I was wondering if I got the numbers wrong.
Yeah,
or
no, I'm
the
wondering
percent wrong.
if, I think the 1,600 number is the percent of the total, 11,345.
Yeah.
Does that come out to 14%?
Oh, maybe that probably, yeah, that would be right. And then can I also ask you, since the October 1 date has come and gone, do we know yet in terms of free and reduced lunch, have we passed the 50% mark so that we are Title I district?
Yeah, I mean, our Hispanic population is up from 39 to 42%. The data that's unaudited that we have for free and reduced lunch is 50.7%. So once the audit is completed, we'll have a better sense, but my guess is we may well surpass the 50% mark.
I know last year we
Yeah.
thought we had, wasn't quite 50.7, but
Yeah.
we thought we had, and then audited, they took some counts out, but we feel, I think it was thought this year.
Yeah, and it does trigger a great deal of flexibility in terms of how we support all of our kids who are Title I eligible and how we use that funding source.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Ms. Murray. No?
I'll wait for the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you.
Okay. All right, the consent calendar, we have items V1, the approval, and 2A, approval of personnel, B, 2B, approval of budget transfers, 2C, approval of trips, 4 trips, Nathan Hale Middle School to Nature's Classroom. Number 2 is CGS to Beijing, China. 3, CGS to Doha, Qatar, and 4, CGS to Nagisa High School in Hiroshima, Japan, and so I'll need a motion on those. Yes, motion. Second, Ms. Murray and Ms. Keys. Okay, any discussion? Any of them? No? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, great, thank you. Next, approval of revisions to two policies that were discussed last week. Policy 6146, graduation requirements. Should we take them all this together? We fine? And policy 5117, school attendance areas. Can I have a motion? Mr. Chiramonte, second. Ms. Keys, any discussion? Yes.
The status of the other additional policies?
I can answer that, Ms. Murray. Policy 1240 and 3160 is being brought back to the policy committee. We will be having a policy meeting next Tuesday, and they'll be back on the agenda for further discussion. And then they'll be brought back to the board for, hopefully for approval.
Was there two others or one?
Two, 1240 and 3160.
Thank you.
I know last time there was a discussion on getting the agenda out early so the community
We
could.
did discuss that, so we are working on that at least several days before. Just
Okay.
like we usually have our board, everything done usually by Thursday or
Friday,
Friday. So we're going to have it done at least by Friday.
Okay.
Before.
Everybody know. Okay.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Next, on to information and reports. Mr. Rudel, September 2013 Financial Monthly Report.
So we finished the first quarter of the new fiscal year for an adjusted budget of $167 million. We have spent $20.6 million, which is 20% of our operating budget, against a theoretical rate of 25%. So we're well within budget.
Great. Anyone have any questions? Can't run off.
Happy birthday to Rich.
Is it? Happy birthday, Rich. All right.
What a way to spend your birthday.
Yeah.
Board meeting,
Happy birthday.
23, that's great.
cracking the whip.
Very good. All right, committee representative reports. We'll go to Ms. Murray first. Any committee reports? Look.
No, we're on our way.
Yeah.
It's been already announced, and we're on
Okay.
our way on the focus groups. Dr. Vera outlined, the expectations, and there'll be more to come on that. We had a meeting scheduled this month, which we did cancel because of the focus groups. We felt that it was not necessary to have a finance committee meeting. It would be a moot point. We need to get information, and it's in the same week, so we decided not to. And the other would be that our November meeting, what we're going to do is, because it's scheduled the same week as Thanksgiving, we just brought it up 1 week, and that was under the approval of the staff. So that has been put in place. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Keys?
Policy 1240 and 3160 we'll be discussing. We've already mentioned it. We'll be back on policy. Other items we'll be discussing as well, and I'm actually thrilled that policy 6146 and 5117 was approved, revisions. And I know Ms. Harris had mentioned something that she wanted to bring up during policy that we will be discussing, eventuality, so that'll be brought up at our next meeting as well on Tuesday. And the public, as always, is encouraged and urged to attend any of our committees.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barbas?
On personnel negotiations, we've been busy, we've accomplished a lot. At this point, as you know, the NFUP contract is done, the NASA contract is done, the NFT contract, we did have our arbitration hearing, and it is now in the hands of the arbitrators. They have to issue a decision by November 3rd. So we're waiting for that to come, but we were pretty close, so we think we know what's coming, but we'll know for sure by November 3rd. The food service union, we've had, as you've heard me talk about, meetings rescheduled. So the last board meeting, we had a meeting, and today we had another meeting, and I think we had the framework of an agreement. We kind of signed a rough parameters they need to confirm. We're having some problems getting the actual insurance policies from Bob Lindbergh, but we're hoping to have those shortly. They want to review those before officially signing off, but I think we'll work something out, and that should happen in short order.
Good. Ms. Williams?
one report. NEF, Norwalk Education Foundation, has been presenting college essay programs, and Gloria Tanofsky, she does a phenomenal job. They're very informative, very well organized, to the point. So if anybody gets a chance, if you have a high school, well, even if you have a high school freshman, they're well worth it. Lots of thought-provoking things. The kids all enjoyed it, so.
Good. Mr. Tremonti?
No report.
Nothing? Athletics report, I believe that Norwalk High and Brian McMahon soccer teams are both undefeated. Still undefeated, I think. I know they've tied a couple of games, but they actually tied each other too. But I think they're still undefeated. But good teams. Any announcements? I'll start with you again. No? Okay. Ms. Keys?
We have Mr. Abrams here, who's the president of MBI, Newark High School Band, doing fantastic. We received the video that Mr. Rivera sent. They have MAC competition, right, this coming weekend, Kennedy Stadium, Bridgeport?
This weekend is Shelton.
Shelton, okay.
November 1st is MAC Championships.
Awesome.
At Kennedy Stadium.
Mhm.
The band is currently
Good.
undefeated, continues to perform well. Rather than focus on scores, however, I will again state it is the camaraderie of all of the students that is what makes that program
Great.
special.
Thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. Glad you were here. This past Saturday night, I was fortunate enough to attend Lockwood Matthew Mansion Museum. They had a great event where they were honoring several students, middle school and high school, as well as elementary school. I think there were students from Kendall, Nathan Hale, and I believe Ponis. They won fabulous prizes, and what they did was they worked on an essay for quite a long time on history, early to mid 19th century history and the arts. And they were presented, the mayor was there, I represented the board, I came, and it's just a fabulous, fabulous program. A lot of young people that are really very creative and really worked really hard on writing these essays. So I just wanted to congratulate those students as well.
Mr. Barbas, any announcements?
I don't think so.
No? Ms. Williams?
Harris.
Harris.
I'm sorry.
That's Williams.
Maybe down the road.
Maybe down the road. I don't know why. All right.
We don't know why.
Who's Harris? I don't know. It just came up. I don't know. Miss Harris. That's twice I said it too.
Let's see, I keep saying it in the posting. Dr. Rivera has talked about the 99 school districts which are in South Norwalk, and I just want to commend Rowayton School, their governance committee, Sarah Riley, who's the principal, Tish McCoy, who's their vice principal, and Jator Patterson, who's their kindergarten teacher. They arranged a Rowayton night in South Norwalk, at the South Norwalk Library, and once the community center is finished, they will reach out to the community center. So they're bringing Rowayton into the community. It was fabulous, very well attended. We were busy, which is why I was a little bit late tonight. But I just thought it was a really good idea. I'll send pictures. They told me to make sure I send pictures to Brenda. So that, it was really nice.
Great.
Mr. Tremonti?
Just passing note, my son came home for his first time from college this past weekend, and instead of spending time with your old mom and dad, he decided to take a ride with all of his alumni friends and go see the band play and give them support, and came back raving about it. I think I saw him for about 5 minutes before he headed back. But he loved going up there and seeing everybody and supporting them.
Great. All right. We'll take a motion on the minutes. Anyone a motion? Ms. Murray, second. Ms. Keys, any discussion, changes? No? No changes? To the minutes? All right. All in favor? All right. Unanimous. Motion to adjourn? All right. Unanimous. I guess that's a...
I'll second that.
I'll second that. All right. All in favor? Unanimous. All right. Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.